was looking around the room earlier today and trying to see how many of you have a wearable on right now. And unsurprisingly, many of you have on a smartwatch or fitness tracker of some kind. And you're likely using it to collect data about yourself, whether it's heart rate, temperature, blood oxygen, the number of steps you've taken, and so on. And you're using this information to paint a more quantified picture of your health and then inform decisions related to things like sleep, exercise, or diet. All of this is possible thanks to the tiny sensors, chips, and devices that we've invented over the last few decades that make this kind of data collection very easy to do. What's interesting is that we don't have a comparable sensor for measuring brain activity, even though it contains so much information about our health and dictates a lot of what makes us human in the first place, whether it's the way we move or the thoughts we have or how we feel. This is rooted in the fact that a lot of the tools we have today for measuring meaningful brain signals are pretty limited and can't be worn easily on our bodies. fMRIs and mags are high performance, but they come as bulky machines. They tend to be expensive to use. And then invasive technologies are also very high performance, but require some kind of clinical procedure. And so this begs the question, is there a way to turn something like a room-sized machine like Meg into the form factor of an Apple Watch? And that's exactly the goal of our work at Sonera. We're developing a high-performance wearable sensor that can detect magnetic fields from the body non-invasively. We're specifically focusing on magnetic fields for two reasons. So the first is to achieve high signal quality. We can do that because the body is effectively transparent to magnetic fields, and so any signals generated from within the body don't get heavily distorted as they pass through human tissue and reach the surface of the skin. The other big reason to focus on magnetic fields is for usability reasons. Because magnetic fields radiate in free space, we can measure them without direct contact to the skin. So things like hair, sweat, clothing, or other physical barriers don't actually impede our ability to measure a signal. And then most importantly, we're building a chip, so something that is small, low power, cheap, and lightweight in order to build a truly scalable solution for non-invasive neural sensing. We're calling the first generation of our chip the S1, and it'll look a lot like the sensors that are in the wearables that you have on you today. So how are we doing this? So my co-founder and I spent years developing expertise on novel semiconductor devices and materials while we pursued our PhDs in EE at Berkeley, where we both met. And it was there that my co-founder studied a new class of materials called multiferroics and discovered that there's a way to use these materials to reduce the size and power consumption of a class of magnetic sensors called magnetic resonance-based sensors. And what it does is it lets us detect weak fields emanating from the body, the weak magnetic fields emanating from the body, but in a much smaller, lower power form factor. And so what are some examples of what we can do with a technology like this? We can put them into a pair of AirPods to detect emotional states like fatigue or alertness or attention. We can also put them into hearing aids to develop real-time hearing diagnostics, or we can put them into a pair of smart glasses in order to control digital interfaces with our thoughts. But what's really cool about our sensor technology is that you can use the exact same core tech and apply it to measure other types of biophysical activity that also generates magnetic fields, like muscle movement, for example. And so what can you do with these sensors when it comes to muscle movement? We can put them into all kinds of prosthetics in order to restore lost motor function. We can put them into new types of neurorehabilitation devices in order to make them more accessible and user-friendly. Or we can put them into the strap of the smartwatch that you're wearing and be able to do things like convert natural hand movement into gesture-based control of digital devices, or maybe even use those same sensors in that strap to track the onset and progression of neurodegenerative disorders like Parkinson's or essential tremors that have a basis in muscular degeneration, and so on and so forth. And so I just gave you a bunch of examples of instances of real products that can be enabled by our technology. And as an entrepreneur and the CEO of Sonera, that's what I'm focused on today. But I'm also a scientist and a researcher, and one of the things that I'm really excited about when I think about this company long term are the broader implications of the technology that we're developing and the new avenues of research that are unlocked by a capability like this. With our sensors, we can go from measuring meaningful brain signals in limited clinical settings to doing so in naturalistic environments over long periods of time across a wide number of users. And this dramatically increases our ability to collect much larger and higher quality data sets on neural activity and really further our ability to understand and study things like the neural basis of speech perception or language or memory or consciousness and so on. And my hope is that a tool like this will ultimately let us advance our overall understanding of the human brain and body, and then apply those insights in ways that will enhance quality of life and health. And some of these ways we can imagine today, like the examples I just listed for you, and other ways we won't really know until we get there. And that's ultimately the purpose of our work at Sonera. I will very quickly close out by just thanking our investors and partners who have supported us over the last few years, Spark Capital, Amplify Partners, and Material Impact. And then also a huge thanks to my team. We're a total of 22, and we're hiring across all disciplines right now. And finally, thanks to BrainMind for giving me the opportunity to share our work with you all today. I'll be hosting a breakout table tomorrow afternoon on the topic of advancing neuroscience, next generation brain imaging tools. So if you want to go deeper on either our work at Sonera, the broader implications of our technology, like the use cases that we could be exploring, please come find me at my table tomorrow. Thank you.